wouldn't have put it together until just now. I wouldn't have probably used the story, but it's such a great story that I had a client. She was a young client. She was 17, 18 years old. And she was really tall, but lean. I bet she was 5'6" and 90 pounds. She was breaking out, depression, all of these things that she's not a child, but a kid should not be dealing with. It was really hard on her. She was really frustrated. She had lots of anxiety. And so her mom came to me, and I don't know if I said this, but she was in Mexico. So the food in Mexico historically is amazing food, but now it's still, it's the flour tortillas and the corn tortillas, and it's kind of like, it's some of it's healthy, some of it not so much. And so what we ended up doing, a huge part of what I do is I run labs, and it helps me understand the body. This is how I love hearing or seeing the body talk to us, because it's given me answers on a piece of paper. It's my favorite thing in the world. It's so cool. But we needed to run labs on her. But what we did first, and this is, such a beautiful story about, again, the language of food and how food can impact us so deeply. But in that time when we were waiting on the lab reports to come back, we took out the 5 big foods that tend to cause sensitivity. So it's gluten, eggs, dairy, soy. Why am I missing one? Gluten, eggs, dairy, soy. Well, it's wheat. Anyway, I'm not doing well today. Anyway, so it's so frustrating sometimes. So we took all 5 of these things out of her diet, and I think it was within 2 weeks. Like when we had her lab review, her face was clearing up. She was feeling better. Her anxiety was gone. Her depression was gone. I mean, she was suicidal. So it was really an intense situation. And it's all because her body was reacting. She was having this massive immune response to the food she was taking in. Why? So there probably was more to it, but what and we had more work to do. So leaky gut, microbes that we have to deal with, right, that are creating a pretty serious inflammatory response. But it was such a huge change in such a short amount of time. The coolest thing about it is when we got our labs back, we did some genetic testing on her where we can look at variants that have the potential, and that's kind of the key word, it's potential to create these conditions, right? So if you you have the potential for an autoimmune condition, doesn't mean you have to have it'll happen. But if you treat your body well, treat your body like the miracle that it is, then probably you can stave off the possibility that you develop an autoimmune condition. That's what we did. She could have had autoimmune conditions. She was super prone to celiac disease. So taking out all of these foods and then seeing the major difference that it made for her, and then seeing it in all her labs, plus all of these things were making her super nutrient deficient. We literally have changed her epigenome, so she does not, as long as she keeps moving in the direction she's moving, so she doesn't develop this autoimmune condition, which an epigenome, that's how we talk about the generational health, is because her health today, being 18, she changed her health. She is setting herself up for healthy family, and that then will go on for generations. So the data shows 7 generations. It's fascinating and it's beautiful. Yeah.
Wait, what do you mean 7 generations? Like it'll probably keep it?
So we have the ability to set up the health, my health today, if I were childbearing, but my health today has the ability to impact, due to epigenetics, 7 generations ahead.
Wow.
Yeah.
At baby in belly, or just changing the cycle after your
Changing the
children?
cycle. So
Okay.
prior to baby in belly. So once baby is in your belly, the variants everything's already there, right? The
Yeah.
baby is being developed with what you already have. So if we kept her from developing symptoms from this autoimmune condition that she could have had that she didn't have, right? Because we tested her, she could have had this. Could it possibly be, it is amazing, could it possibly be that for generations, maybe that potential becomes less and less and less. And
Wow.
so that is what's fascinating. And it's not just food. This is sleep. It's how we experience life. It's relationships. It's movement, too much or too little. It's the toxins. You know, we talk about, you know, the toxins in our food, but the toxins in our environment, the toxins that we, you know, we put on our skin. You know, we think we're doing great things by putting, you know, facial moisturizers on and perfumes. And these things are, for the most part, incredibly toxic, and they have an effect on our epigenome, which is what impacts gene expression.
Is some of what we are talking about right now this preconception planning that you're talking about, or is this two totally different subjects?
Yes. So
is it? Okay.
It is. And this is how it all sort of came together for me, because I from undergrad school have been fascinated with the miracle of creation, right? And how cool it is that two people can come together and create another little person or animals or whatever it is. It's just this beautiful, coolest thing ever. And so as you know, I've gone through the years, and then, you know, going to nutrition school, and then learning the language of food, and then learning about epigenetics, which, you know, it's like the language of food and epigenetics. Those are the things that just went, this is my world and this is my thing, because it's so fascinating, the power that we have as individuals to create our own health, or, as I said a little while ago, our own dis-ease. So you know, I love bringing the awareness of the accountability of it, which can be hard, right? But it also, it puts the power in my hands. It's all about me and my decisions. It's nobody else, right? So taking all of that and sort of putting it together, and helping to bring the awareness that whether you're dealing with symptoms or not dealing with symptoms, and you just want to be prepared, which is great, it's taking that time. Ideally, is it 3 months? Is it 6 months? It kind of depends on your health status and what's going on. But taking that time to say, okay, I'm going to go within, and I'm going to prepare my body. Same with the spouse. I'm going to prepare my body, and I'm going to get as healthy as I can. And I'm going to be super aware about what's going in, what's going on, and start to mitigate, eliminate symptoms the best we can, get as healthy as possible, because then you're setting yourself up for a healthy pregnancy, a healthy baby, and then, of course, healthy generations. And what the data shows, which I love also, is that 5 lifestyle changes can decrease negative outcomes by 80%. You know, and where we are right now, we have fertility issues with women, fertility issues with men. There's a stat, and I never get it right, but I think in the last 60 years, men's fertility rates have dropped by
50%. Wow.
I mean, incredible. This is incredible stuff.
And you're saying that this is food. A lot of it.
Yes, a lot of it is food, but a lot of it is everything about our lifestyle. But yes, food is huge, and food is my thing, you know? Wow.
Yeah. Can you read the comment?
Is it okay to read out loud? Okay. I was diagnosed with alopecia, which is an autoimmune disorder which causes my hair follicles to stop growing. I would love to connect to see what benefits are available for me. That is a tough one. I deal a lot with autoimmune conditions, and there are a lot of them out there that are really, really tricky. I mean, I think most of them are pretty tricky, but are there ways of reversing it? I honestly don't know. I've not seen anything, but I think I'm pretty well connected, and always love looking into understanding what we can do. So just briefly, autoimmune conditions stem from the gut. There's a leaky gut issue, but the biggest thing about functional nutrition, functional medicine, is digging deep, asking the question why. We don't just have leaky gut because we have leaky gut. There's something else going on. There is an exposure, whether it's microbes, there's an exposure maybe to mycotoxins, which is mold, be it from food or from environment. there's exposure to heavy metals, there's exposure to toxicants in the environment, glyphosate, which is Roundup, and then all of the other amazing and horrible toxins that are out there. So I think the biggest thing when it comes to a situation like this, let's look at why this might be happening. Another thing to keep in mind is one autoimmune condition increases the potential for more autoimmune conditions, especially with women as our hormones are fluctuating, whether it's when we're young or when we're pregnant or when we're aging and moving through perimenopause and menopause. Those hormone fluctuations really can trigger more autoimmune conditions. So we want to do our best to clean up whatever happens. So let's look at the heavy metals. Let's look at the toxicants. Let's look at the gut and the microbiome to understand, are there pathogens that triggered it? What is it that triggered it? Epigenetically, there was something there that showed the potential, but something triggered it, right? It's environment. Something triggered it to make it happen. So what can we do to, at the very minimum, keep more of them from jumping up and